What's up, everybody? Welcome to High Speed Daddy. You know who it is. I got my Superman shirt on. It's Super Dad and Craig, and Craig is the founder of High Speed Daddy. But we've got another guy down here. His name is Jeff Bells, and Jeff is here. Jeff, you're from Ohio, yeah?
Akron, Ohio, yes.
Okay. So Jeff's going to be joining us. I'm going to have to. His mic's a little weird, so I'm going to kind of like on the tech side, like mute him every now and then and stuff. But you might see a different logo in the corner too, guys. So that logo that you're seeing is the logo for Culture City. All right, Culture with a K. Culture, yeah, nice job, Craig. Culture City is an amazing nonprofit. In fact, they're one of the top 10 nonprofits in the nation, as you know, selected by our good friend Bill and Melinda Gates. And what Culture City does is, and it's fitting during April, Autism Awareness Month, right? They help not only make things a little bit more sensory friendly. All right, we're gonna talk about that and what the term sensory friendly actually means. But Culture City changes that term and makes it more sensory inclusive. All right, so we're gonna talk with Jeff about what that means. Jeff is what we call an awesome dad, AUSOME. So he does have a son that is living with autism. And we're going to let him share that really cool, unique story and one experience that Jeff had without giving too much away. Oh, Ann says hi. Look, Jeff, Ann says hi.
I'm going to talk about her story too, about about our Akron Marathon story. Yes, absolutely.
And then Marie Smith says hi. Hey, Marie.
Hey, Marie.
And then we've also got who? Christina Salvato. She says yes, she loves the organization. I totally agree. Totally agree. Culture City's awesome. So lots of good people tuning in and watching. Thank you guys so much. But before we get into things, I do want to talk about what this brand is and who Craig is, right? And why he kind of started this company. So High Speed Daddy exists to help men provide, protect, and connect. And I can't think of a better person to symbolize that than Jeff. Jeff is an incredible dad. In addition to helping men provide, protect, and connect, we also happen to sell some of the best diaper bag backpacks, gear for dads and moms, of course, on the planet. Craig, I mean, before we get into this, I mean, did I leave anything out? I really want Jeff to share his story.
No, I'm really interested in seeing what Jeff has to say right now. We kind of just met each other. We've known about the brand for a little while now. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be right up front and let everyone know that I don't have a child that's on spectrum. I don't have a lot of experience with autism, and things along those lines. So I'm genuinely interested to learn more about what you guys do and let you kind of just take over and share your story, share your experience and how that's kind of affected you as a father and a provider and protector of your family and stuff like that.
Hey, son.
And basically see how that relates in a way to some of our members of our community that's not just a parent that might have a child that's on spectrum, but also some of our military veterans that have sensory issues with PTSD and things like that coming back from combat and whatnot. So, Jeff, we're just really interested to see, everything you're about to tell us.
Okay, yeah. Again, thank you for having me. I know that Julian was scheduled to be here, but I'm really honored to be here. Craig, thanks. I know, like you said, we had just met, but thank you for your service. I read up about what you did and really do appreciate that. But so I have 2 boys, and my 15-year-old son Carson's autistic, and he is nonverbal. So, like you said, you're not too familiar. He's not able to speak, but that doesn't mean he's not able to communicate because he uses an iPod Touch with an app that's loaded called Proloquo, and he is able to use his device. We have an OT that built a harness that has a speaker, so he can go on his device and he can tell us the things that he needs or wants. He loves to be out in the community. He loves going to events. But what really brought me, or I guess put me in the middle of the Culture City family was an incident that we had in 2016. We decided that my son goes to an autism school. All of the students in his school are autistic. And they sent home a flyer asking if we would go to the minor league hockey game as kind of a group, like a class outing. And we had never taken him before because in the past, we would decide, I have an older son, who would take my older son to events and who would stay home with my younger son, because you spend money, you go, we're about an hour away from Cleveland. You drive into the city, you could, my son could have a hard time and we could end up leaving. It's happened before at little smaller events. So what we did was we insulated kind of the idea. My wife will be there, I'll be there. We put together what we called a social story. It kind of tells you what to expect when you're going there, what the front doors will look like, what the event you're going to looks like, kind of to preload as much information as we can for my son, because things can be very difficult. Mm-hmm. So we were going through security, and my son, with his harness and his device, set off the metal detector. Mm-hmm. And the guy said, the security guard at the time said, he can't come through here like that. So I started to take his device off of him. My son wasn't understanding why we had just gone through security, why we were being pushed back through. So he started to kind of bounce and kind of become agitated in a way. Mm-hmm. And the security guard said, get control of that kid. And so it was like devastating. We hadn't made it through the door. We had planned it out. It was going to be the time that we were going to be able to make it. His therapists were there. His classmates were there. Well, we ended up getting through security at that point, but not without being like ostracized, without our dignity being kind of stripped from us at the time. And my wife said, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen to our family or any family. Mm-hmm. And I didn't mention before that it was Autism Awareness Night. So,
wow.
Yeah. So it can be I hate to leave that story that way, because the Cavaliers, once they got word, because they have a shared arena with the Lake Erie Monsters, decided that they were going to not just be better, but be the best. So they ended up running into Julian through serendipity at a tech conference, and where Julian was speaking about sensory inclusion, including people that have sensory needs. And really, it was kind of the genesis of how Culture City, which had started in Birmingham with 2 doctors at the zoo in Birmingham, got into the NBA and now has reached the whole world, really. So what we, at that time, my wife decided to tweet out to Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and within a short period of time, she got a phone call, and they heard about our story. They wanted to make it right. They through some time, they met with Julian and Michelle Mahad, who started Culture City, mm-hmm. and they said, we want to get you guys together. And then we fell in love with Culture City, their mission, their ideas, and we've been basically family with those guys ever since. It's really what started out, as could have been the most negative story ever, mm-hmm. just unheard of bad, turned into a movement. Really went from 3 venues 3 years ago to over 500 venues that are now sensory inclusive.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so when I met with these guys before, we had talked about, it's not just autism; it's sensory needs. So one of my most proud venues is the National Veterans Memorial and Museum in Columbus, Ohio. When I was traveling there for the launch, my wife was going to speak at the launch. I wanted to find out more about the National Veterans Memorial and Museum. And the story behind that was, there are no tanks, there are no planes, you won't see any of those things. It's about the folks that have served in the military. So who better at that point to be inclusive to, or to look out for, than the folks with PTSD that could be coming home that can't even potentially go to a venue specifically designed to celebrate them.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I mean, I think that, we think about autism, and it is Autism Awareness Month, and we get it. But sensory issues, when you think about that, and you think about our active duty and our now civilian men and women that have served in armed forces, I mean, it's all encompassing, right? And so, and these are silent, silent people suffering in silence. People suffer in silence mm-hmm. with these. You can't. Jeff and I talked about this earlier. It's like, you can't just look at someone and go, oh yeah, I'm sure they have sensory issues or something along those lines. Now, after you maybe try to talk to them or engage with them, you might figure that out, right? But just like that security guard, and I think, like, there's 2 ways you could have handled that. Jeff. Like your wife could have gone crazy, like in public and been like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, who do you think you are? And like all this kind of stuff. Right. But does that really help that person actually change? Right. And I think that what you have done and what your family chose to do has been a domino effect with the entire NBA. Right. And like, guys, I don't think you know this, but like Culture City just took over the NBA's Instagram channel, like just like a couple weeks ago. And they had Joe Ingles from the Utah Jazz. Shout out to Joe Ingles if you're watching, right? Who is an awesome dad as well. And Joe was talking about his experience as a dad with a son or a child that's living with autism. And I think that is huge. And so you think about just that one little instance, Jeff, and what you guys did. Like, hats off to you, bro. Like, you did that. You were the catalyst. And then you have Culture City and you have people like Julian and Michelle and like all of the celebrities tied to Culture City that can help expand this tidal wave of awareness. And someday when we see a kid flip out in public, we will be able to take just a pause and think for a second, you know what can I do to help? What can I do to help this? And you know, so I get excited, y'all, because like that's who I am. I get excited because we get to bring a brand like High Speed Daddy, okay, who provides, protects, and connects. Again, I cannot connect these two any better. Like Jeff, you are a High Speed Daddy, and you know that. Yeah, we're sending you a bag, bro, because you got to wear it. You got to wear it proudly.
Yeah, I was looking at those, and they're sharp, man. Those things are nice. I'm like, I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, awesome. You gotta wear that. But you know, Craig, coming from you, I know that this is new for you, but like, man, like you were so awesome and open to like, I can't wait to learn. You know, are there any questions that you have for Jeff as just from like dad to dad? Because I know that you've probably been in a Jeff and I both have kids that are it's incredibly sensory. My son, ODD, ADHD, and also extremely sensory. I mean, he has a lot of noise things. The noise cancellation headphones that Culture City provides would be great for us at a sports event. But do you have any questions, like as a dad that is not in this world, that could help you further your understanding?
I don't think I necessarily have questions. It's more I'm just thankful for learning, right? And I think that's the same problem that security guard had. They weren't aware. They didn't have the education. They didn't have the resources provided to them at the time. And that's where the Cavaliers, I'm sure, has a whole training SOP, for every team member of theirs, to be aware of, things like this. Yeah. Like I said, I don't really have any questions. It's just be more aware of it. And like you stated, Corey, to see, in case you do see something happening out in public, to know that, no, it's not necessarily just a behavior issue. There could be something more underlying. And my wife's an elementary school teacher, so I have a little privy to this stuff, but not anything where enough that you guys have, or to even her, to what's going on. So there's certain times where my kids are acting up. I'm going, is this something that's behavior, or is this something that if we see it starting to propagate, like should we go have our kids tested? And maybe that's a question I have for both of you, as to at what point do you think, like, I don't want parents to overreact and be like, yeah, and then label the kids as something, right? When, it's maybe not how, or at what point would you possibly bring your kids in to either the general physician or something for testing, or something to look for going down that road?
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, Marie Smith is commenting, like, just giving you a round of applause, Craig. Like, man, like, you're totally open to it and listening, and it's amazing. Yeah. I think you want me to start, Jeff, or you want to go?
For in my situation, my son regressed. So that's kind of a classic autism. So My son spoke. He said, "Mom, Dad, ball, Elmo, please." He had a group of words, and then he regressed and he lost language altogether. That was a pretty red flag that we should at that point get service. But Craig, one thing that I don't want to forget to say, the one thing that I loved about Culture City is that when people that aren't directly impacted by something care as much as people that are, you can really change the world. And that's by having you here and having us like this conversation where like you're not directly impacted by this, but when you can care, and that's in anything, that's in, racism, that's just any time that you can get people to care that aren't directly impacted, you can make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm looking down to the lens of, and something that affects our brand. We like to help dads become the best versions of themselves, right? So this all relates back to, a parent not flipping out when their kid does something, to try to understand it more. What are they actually trying to get across? What are they trying to say? And, it could be something along those lines of, oh, maybe we have to look at, additional testing or service, or look for telltale signs of something, instead of always going to, like a behavior style correction or something along those lines.
And they say, my wife says it a lot. She's like, that child's not giving you a hard time. They're having a hard time. And it could be sensory overload. And it's things that we might not even think about. It might be the sound of the lights that are there. And I'm sure PTSD is so much similar in so many ways, because we did a launch with the Akron Summit County Public Library with a 2-time Purple Heart recipient from the Vietnam War. And he talked about going into the library and things that were distracting to him that we wouldn't even notice. It could be the sound of the water or an elevator, just so many little things. A smell could set him off. And he just, they talked about people that needed to sit in a spot where they can see everything around them. It's these little things, but Culture City does provide, I know you weren't too familiar, but they do provide training for like the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's part of what we do in each venue. We go in, we do an assessment of the facility. We do a staff training. We do social stories, something that tells you what to expect basically and it's all included on an app that Culture City does that we have. So it's geo-tracked, so you can literally put in the city that you're in or the location that you're in, and it'll tell you all the sensory inclusive locations in your area, and it'll lead you to basically know that this place is accepting. It's not just awareness, but it's accepting and inclusion. That's kind of what we're about.
Excellent. Guys, I think this is kind of the beginning of a beautiful friendip between High Speed Daddy and Culture City.
Absolutely.
I love this guy already.
There's it's funny. There's a lot of opportunity. I'm talking to Julian about some things, and we've got some good things coming up here. With I want you to talk, Jeff, for a quick second about Lifebox and some of the resources available to families that are struggling, because there's just a lot of opportunity out there. Of course, they're a nonprofit, so absolutely donate if you have philanthropic goals that you want to move towards. But let's talk about some of those free resources, and how we can get those into the hands of some dads out there in our community that would love to have them, right? Like Lifebox.
Yeah, so Lifebox is a kit that Culture City created that helps prevent wandering and wandering-related accidents. A lot of kids, if you hear that there's a child missing and they're autistic, the end results really, really are pretty poor. So what Culture City did is they created what we're calling a Lifebox. And inside the Lifebox, we have like window and door alarms. It has a Bluetooth synced wristwatch that literally tells you if they get too far away from you or if they get in or near water. It has a QR coded shoe tag, so that if you were to find my son and he didn't have his device, you could literally scan on your phone and it could tell you contact information. There's also a Kids ID tag. It's almost like a little like a wristband that has basically contact information. You can write on there whatever information that you need. So it just helps like prevent wandering, but it helps retrieve people if they were to be found that were out of place. And we've provided those. Since 2016, when I became a part of Culture City, I watched us give away thousands of those to families.
So
save lives.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. They tally how many lives have actually been saved by Lifebox. It's incredible. Yeah. Talk to me. Jeff. There's a lot of celebrities and like big names attached to Culture City. I know that there's some people that probably want to know, and you and I have both been to Culture Ball. Okay, so I know for me, last year. And Culture Ball, guys, just so you know, is a huge gala that happens in Alabama, in Birmingham, just the heart of Birmingham, every single year to support. This year, right now, it's still on the books right now. I don't know what's going to happen with the stay-at-home orders and everything, but we'll have to see. But Imagine Dragons are performing, which is absolutely mind-blowing, right? And But for me, last year, I got to meet Dominic Wilkins. Okay, like the freaking human highlight reel was there, and I got to stand and talk to him. I was like looking up, like, hi, you know.
How do you tell your heroes that are sitting in front of you? I mean, you know, I'm 43 years old. I'm like, this guy, you know, I know everybody in the world likes Michael Jordan over LeBron or LeBron over Michael, but Dominique was the man. I mean,
he was sick. Yeah.
We had, you know, here locally in Ohio, we had the Cleveland Cavaliers games, and we also did WTBS. So we got to catch Atlanta Hawks games, and it was like, this guy's different. I mean, he is unbelievable. And then, of course, you know, the dunk contest with Jordan, where he basically should have won and got robbed because it was in Chicago. But Dominique Wilkins, and I got an opportunity, so super blessed that we're all a part of this, that I got to go to his 60th birthday party in Atlanta, and it was just like, this guy is a hero, really, you know, to a lot of, but for him to take this cause on and to understand, and the beauty of what Culture City is doing is what, I mean, it was incredible. That part of it was as equally incredible to me. Last year at Culture Ball, Corey, if you remember, if Sonia's still on here watching, we brought her son, Kalen, was able to come to Culture Ball, and he's the first Division I athlete to receive a scholarship.
Wow.
That's autistic. For me, I had an opportunity to go sit with Sonia and watch Kalen at Kent, which, I mean, there's big things happening, and, you know, glad that they're all part of our little family.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And you know, the first Division I basketball player with autism, like, come on, incredible stuff.
And better people than just the story of the people behind it. I mean, Kalen and Sonia, just love them.
Hey, we had a question come in from Joseph. So Joseph asked, I'm gonna pop it up here. Are the Lifebox, you know, things just for kids with sensory issues? I mean, Joseph, the answer is no. Right. There's no specific qualifications that you have to prove in order to get a Lifebox. But they were designed for kids that wander. Okay, so that fits into a lot. When you are dealing with kids that are struggling with autism or living with autism, it's one of the main points. So it was designed for those kids, but no, it's not exclusive, and you have to qualify by telling us the exact type and all that stuff. No, just check it out. Go check out Culture City's website and get one.
Corey, the other thing I was going to say is, if Ann, when she popped up and said, hey, so I work in public transit. That's what I do for my job. And I've gotten to have a relationship with the Akron Marathon. It was, I provide transportation for the runners at the Akron Marathon. And Ann was a neighbor, have become friends over the few years working with them. And I couldn't even get the pitch out to them to become the first sensory inclusive marathon before she was saying yes. So what we did was we had a mobile sensory vehicle. And my pitch to her would be, when I was telling her, is that people run, a lot of runners run for someone or run for a cause. You see people that are wearing upside down shirt for folks with Down syndrome. You see wounded warrior runners. You see people with, my wife started running. She's run, I think, 14 marathons now. And she started running. Yeah, she started running when my son was diagnosed with autism. So I said, a lot of the inspiration of these runners can't be there to witness this. So we finish at the baseball stadium in Canal Park here in Akron. That's where the marathon finish is. So we brought a mobile sensory room. It's a trailer that was designed by Culture City that was just there as a place that, if you're overwhelmed, it's a place to kind of regroup and then rejoin, so that the people that the runners are out there running for, the inspiration of those runners would be there for, hey, Ann. She's still here. So I told you. So so we were able to provide a space for the folks that could be overwhelmed at the time, but would also be able to be there and watch their person finish. One of the things that we talk about with Culture City when we're pitching is that we don't change the experience for anybody else, but we allow accessibility for folks that have sensory needs. One more story I'll bother you with.
I love it.
Not bothering at all. It's all great resources. Like I said, I know we're going live on Culture City, and I know we're going to share this amongst all the different High Speed Daddy platforms.
What is Ann saying right now?
You got race medals in your background, bro.
Oh no, yeah, those are my Iron Man medals, Ann. But
okay.
I'm retired. Funny fact: that's the only marathon I've ever run. I had not run a marathon before I did that, but this is not about me. Sorry to cut you off, Craig. And I'll do a half marathon, Ann. That's it. Come on now. What were you saying, Craig?
Jeff, go ahead with the next story.
Oh yeah. So when Culture City partnered with Major League Baseball, we were in Cleveland for the All-Star game, and they loved what we were doing. We had the Century trailer there. Well, when the World Series came to Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros, we built a safe trailer here, a Century trailer here in Ohio. Julian said, drive that to Washington, D.C.
Oh, we lost you. You're frozen. You froze on us, Jeff. Uh-oh. Jeff, is he frozen for you too, Craig?
Yeah, he's just a little bit slow. That's all.
Yeah. Well, try no, I can't hear you, buddy. Try bouncing out and coming back in, Jeff. Come back in, same link. If you can hear us. Yeah. Anyways, all right, Craig. So while Jeff goes out and comes back in,
while he does that, Corey, I do have some questions for you, and I was going to ask Jeff. Once you finish the story, but I'll go ahead and ask you if you're aware. What types of examples do these stadiums have, or what tactical items do they do? Do they put them in special like a VIP boxes that they have accessible for them, or headphones for people with sensory things that are too noisy, things along those lines?
Yeah. First, I want to give a shout out to Ron. So Ron's ordering a backpack and a lunch bag. Thank you, Ron.
Ron, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Super sweet. Okay. Yes. First of all, what are we talking about? Sports organizations. We're talking about the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, and Major League Baseball. There are connections with Culture City and all of these professional sports organizations. In addition to that, what they do is they literally take the entire staff, and Culture City takes over the arena, and they walk them through a special certification training. And that certification training gives them the opportunity. Hey, Jeff, we see you. I'll bring you back in. Tilt your phone to the side. We'll get you in. All right, hang on. All right, there we go. You're back.
Sorry about that.
Who knows?
Good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hold on. I was telling them about the sports training and how they actually do it in the arena. So they'll call the entire staff in, Craig, like basically, and they will teach them how to look for certain things and how to react to certain things. So like that security guard that we've kept referencing and talking to about, that guy would already know that when he saw behavior like that, what to do and how to help, and maybe to grab the closest, Culture City, sensory bag and give it to them. So they have that as a resource. Is that accurate, Jeff?
Oh yeah. Part of what we do is we provide sensory bags at these venues that have noise canceling headphones, fidget tools. There's a lanyard that just says Culture City VIP, kind of keeps people's dignity along with, but it also alerts the staff who have been trained. This is somebody that may need to have a little extra time.
Yeah,
but sorry.
No, and the rooms. Like, talk to them about the rooms. Like, because I don't think Craig was asking about, is there a special place for them? And like, yeah, like if you think of like the Alabama Science Center and a couple other like locations where there's actual rooms dedicated, or you just talked about the sensory truck. Do you call it a sensory truck? What do you call it? Sensory van? Something along those lines?
Oh, I think you might be freezing again.
Freezing again. You're freezing again, Jeff. Go get a better Wi-Fi signal and you come back. I'm kicking you out of the studio again. All right, so he'll come back. Listen, so there's sensory trucks, all right? And I actually went and experienced a sensory truck at AEW Wrestling. Now, I know it sounds crazy, right? Like wrestling, how can that be sensory friendly or sensory inclusive, anything? And because of Julian and Michelle, like they were able to forge a partnership with them where you can actually have a truck available that you can go in, and it's kind of your safe place. It's your safe room.
Okay.
It's a place where you can go and just chill out and like hear some water, or touch some different things that will help you calm down if you're a sensory kid. Like it's awesome how they do it. And so so that's it. Yeah, that's what it does.
I love this, and hopefully Jeff can come back on before we end. But yeah, I mean, I love having him on. No, I was just saying, Jeff, I love all the information that you're putting out here and the resources and what you guys are doing at Culture City. It actually blows my mind with how far things are going, to be able to help and be sensory inclusive, sensory friendly, at these sporting events and even outside of that, what you guys are doing. It's great.
Oh, your mic is muted. Hang on. There you go. Got you now? No. Did you select your mic when you came in? Oh man, poor guy. He's struggling. It's okay. It's all right. Well, listen, guys. There's a couple different things that we want to mention before we finish up here, and I know we're coming up at 30 minutes. First and foremost, we want to say a massive thank you to Culture City for allowing us to simulcast and stream on the Culture City page. In addition to that, like there's a private Facebook group that and I see you, Jeff. I'll get to you, man. So there is a private Facebook group called High Speed Daddy Provide Protect Connect. If anyone, it's a dads only group, right? And so it's a group for dads where we can kind of connect as dads and share some things going on in our families. It's a tight knit group of people, but this is an open invitation for you and any other dads to come in and join. The group's run by Craig. I'm in there every now and then, but it's a great space. So yeah, let me see if Jeff is still. All right, Jeff.
Let's see.
Oh,
terrible at technology.
No, we got you. We got you, Jeff.
I hear you. All right. If you freeze again, though, it's over. We're just ending.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw my phone away. So just real quickly, when I was at the World Series, I had a guy come up to me and he said that he was a Nationals fan all of his life. He was probably in his mid-40s and said that he was a Gulf War vet. And he was overwhelmed because of the environment. And he went inside this sensory vehicle that we had, like I was telling you about, that had bubble art wall, just kind of soothing sounds, just a place to regroup. And so he was able to sit in there for about an inning, and then he went back to watching the game. And it's like, if you can't serve those people that have served us, then, I mean, we're not doing the right thing. That's why, like I said, the PTSD side of this is huge. And that's why, Craig, like I said, it's just an honor to be, sharing this with you.
No, I so appreciate it, what you guys have done there and helping. And it's not just, what you guys are doing, not just helping, families that have someone that has autism, but also military vets and anyone that has sensory issues in general. Right. And being a guy, like I was enlisted, I was in the military 6 years. Thankfully, I've never deployed. But just the amount of training that I've been through and the amount of training that I've been around with firearms and loud noises, firework goes off and I start sensing things, right? So I could see even from that side where I have certain triggers with certain loud noises and stuff, and realize where this could definitely help people that have situations much worse than I have, right? So it's really great what you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
You, and sorry about all the technical stuff on this end.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, it's all good, man. Well, listen, everybody, we're here live every Wednesday at 4:30 Eastern. High Speed Daddy is the name of the brand. If you want to check out our bags, we have some of the best bags in the world. Whether you're a mom, a dad, you need a business bag, you need a gym bag, you need a bug out bag, you need a bag to carry your sensory bag, a bag to carry your bag. We got you covered. But listen, this is, like I said, this is the beginning of a beautiful partnership. You're going to see High Speed Daddy quality materials, maybe carrying some Culture City products in them and making them available to families all across the world. So we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. Give a shout out to Julian and Michelle over at Culture City, and we'll make sure to have Julian on the show at a later date. Julian, I know you're watching from the emergency room, man. He is, and he is not in the emergency room, folks. He actually works at the emergency room. Dr. Julian Maha is an actual medical doctor, and that's where he's at. So he got called in today, but man, we could not have a better guy on deck than Jeff Bells. So Jeff, man, thanks for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on High Speed Daddy. Bye, guys.